We want to chat some pre-agents because everyone's chatted free agents. We've chatted heaps over the last fortnight, but pre-agents, that's where it's at. The players that are free agents a year's time, this is where clubs look to target them, and where clubs who have these players look to potentially think, right, we're going to get more compensation if they leave 1 year to go before free agency. So let's have a look at some of the big ones. And Zach Butters and Sam Walsh are clearly two of the biggest. Dylan Moore, Ben King and Brian Myers in there. Port Adelaide already doing everything you can to keep Zach Butters.
Yeah, and you would be, wouldn't you? He's one of the top 10 players in the competition, if not a top 5 player, and they're missing him a lot at the moment. Butters is the one everyone's talking about. I think some clubs think it's live this year, given he's got a year to go on his contract, but I just can't see how Port Adelaide would budge at all this year. I think waited out another year when he's a restricted free agent. I think they would be able to match as well and then force a trade to generate more than just one free agency compensation pick if he did choose to leave. Every club will be able to move money around to make that happen in that scenario, given the way salary caps are looking next year and beyond. So as much as some clubs think they'd be in the mix this year, I think it's more a next year conversation. Geelong, the Western Bulldogs, Essendon, Collingwood, I think they'd be the clubs that would be leading the way in terms of the chase for Zach Butters, but I just don't think he'd leave in contract, and I don't think they'd let him leave in contract. Walsh will get big offers this year. I think he's already one of the Blues $1 million men, but Shapes is their next captain. As a pre-agent, he'll get big money thrown at him to turn his head this year, I think. Particularly if Carlton's woes continue. Do I think he goes? No. But I do think that he'll have some things thrown at him this year to consider, and I'm sure Carlton will be keen to lock him in as well.
Yeah, Dylan Moore's going to be interesting as well because he'll be unrestricted in the sense that he was delisted in 2020, so he's unrestricted for life in that sense. And then Brian Myers is into his 8th year this year, but he's signed through until a 9th year, so that's why he is a pre-agent this year. Let's take a look at the next slide. Zach Bailey, Kieran Briggs, Justin McInerney, Liam Ryan and Chase Jones. Chase Jones is an interesting one there in the sense that he'd have Tasmania 2027 in the back of his mind, given he's a local boy.
That's right. Zach Bailey's a superstar, isn't he? A player out of that 2017 draft crop that's been so good for the Lions. Huge in their premiership win. Huge again at the start of this season. Look, he's at a 9th year player, so he's still eligible for free agency clearly and restricted free agency, whereas most of these guys are coming into free agency for the first time at their 8th year. Liam Ryan has flirted with a move in previous years but remained with the Eagles. Justin McInerney, pretty important player for the Swans too. As we flip over, a couple of veterans in the next group too, led by Toby Green. Jack Buckley, another giant as well. Mitch Lewis, Bailey Fritsch and Joel Amati.
Yeah, Jack Buckley, I think, is one that's going to be in for a big payday given his contract situation. So he signed a 3-year deal through to free agency in 2023. That's when he was coming back from the ACL. He'd barely played any footy when he signed that deal, and given his importance to the Giants, he'd be one of the most underpaid players in the comp right now. Mitch Lewis, he'll be into his 10th season, so he'll be an unrestricted free agent. You know, the scarcity of key forwards on the market, so he's sure to get some interest as well. And Bailey Fritsch and Joel Amati in a similar boat, given their status as forwards.
And the reason, as you say, we talk about these pre-agents a year out is that the clubs can make a decision while they've got him in contract to say, well, is one pick going to be enough if some of these players leave next year? Or do we make a move if they're happy to move and if the player's looking around? The power of the pre-agent is more with the player, though. We see so many of these players sign big-time deals by the end of this year, and I think we will for a number of these guys. It wouldn't shock me if Hawthorn gets things rolling on Dylan Moore pretty soon, given the way his superstardom has kind of erupted over the past 2 years. So they try and lock them in, and the power is with the player. Try and get ahead of that free agency. Stephen May, Lachie Neale, Chad Wingard, Jacob Hopper among the pre-agents who've moved in recent years.
And there's been plenty of pre-agents that have signed their long-term deal before hitting their free agency year already. So Connor Rosie in that boat, for example. Connor Iden signed that deal through until 2032. A lot of these guys have signed beyond 2030 already.
And it's funny actually talking about next year's free agents. The top end, this is the 2018 draft pool that's been so talked about over the years, has been sort of highly rated at the very top. Not many of those top players are actually still eligible for free agency because Jack Lukosius has left, Bailey Smith's left obviously 2 years before free agency, Nick Blakey signed till about 2400, so he's another one who's gone sort of past that bracket like Rosie did. So out of the great draft, a few of them are already off the table.